Breakdowns and Bows with me, your host ASOS. I was trying to enjoy 2026. I was trying to be positive. I was like, let's just look for new music. Let's just try to block out the AI generated bands. When all of a sudden I heard this degrading voice in the back of my head, and everybody was talking about an AI band ripping off Knock Loose. I was seeing a lot of people post videos talking about, how much more the situation is getting. So that's what I want to talk about to you guys today, about AI bands. I want y'all's voice in the comments on what your guys' view, whether it's positive or whether you think it's a negative thing. But I do want to say that I feel very frustrated, very personally, and I want this statement to be permanent stance on AI, that it should not be the next shift in music, and that it is not where we should be go. We should, as a collective, block and report that music should stay real, should stay untouched by the talents of individuals. While AI bans frustrates me, what really frustrates me the most is that Spotify pushes them, that Spotify gives them verification. I do not like seeing an AI band get verification. I do not like AI bands being put in playlists, being suggested to listen to. I do not like it at all. People are still listening to them, which also frustrates me. Some of these bands have millions of streams. People on TikTok are using their audio and further supporting and giving publicity to AI bands. And my argument why I think all of that is frustrating, why all of that is wrong, you guys should not be supporting this music on TikTok, on anywhere at all, is that this is not real. It is not real. Where is this gonna go? You know what I mean? Like, you cannot do live shows. There will never be interviews with the band to hear about who they are, why they make music. AI loses this human to human interaction. We're so focused on these devices in front of us that we're losing touch with reality, and we're losing touch with what matters in life, which is we want to go to live shows. We want to meet these people that made music, that saved us, that gave us a feeling that we felt like we didn't have anymore, that gave us joy, that gave us happiness. We want to go to shows to share it with other people. I like going to concerts. I would have never met or had my boyfriend had we not had actual music together. Like, that's what bonds me and him. I mean, there's other things that we have in common and everything, but a central part of our, and a core part of our relationship is music, loving going to live shows, loving the live concert experience. We went to like 2 concerts together last year, and we have more planned this year. If AI takes over, we lose that. Do people realize that? I just spit. Do people realize that if AI takes over and we allow AI to take over, what happens to the live experience, And also, I can speak for Gen Z because I am Gen Z. What's going to happen when we don't have live shows to meet people in the real world that are like us? I think that Gen Z is so glued to our phones, to TikTok, to YouTube, to everything. And we don't go out in the world and we don't make friends. I feel like my generation is the loneliest generation because we live vicariously on our phones and through everything. And I am very guilty, of this. I lack friends and I lack going outside. And again, if we allow AI to take over, it's just going to further isolate us. And that's what scares me a lot. There's nothing real, and it's just a loss in the world. I hate when people say that AI is going to take over, because AI really, what it's taking over is just the human experience and meeting people and having just a human experience. Just everything is just digitalized, and it's disgusting to really see where we are in this digital age, and we can't go beyond these screens. And AI is just taking advantage of this. But again, there's more problems than just us supporting it and us using it on TikTok. It also goes into these streaming services who are leeches And as much as I love Spotify, and I do see the pros in Spotify, there's a lot of cons in Spotify. Number one, they don't pay their artists enough. Streaming is taking over. There's no more people. Well, people are buying vinyls again, which I'm loving seeing people buy vinyls again, because that's what matters. I used to buy CDs all the time. I have collections of CDs. I love CDs. But now it's like the streaming numbers matter. But the thing is, do you guys realize that artists don't get paid for their streams? So an artist could have 5 million streams, and you'll be like, damn, they must be racking in the dough from those streams. They're not, because Spotify only pays them a few cents for every streaming number that they have. And when you're in a band and you have to split that between a bunch of people, that doesn't make up anything. Where artists, and this is again my argument, where artists make their money and where artists get their living is through live shows, through merchandise. So again, if AI takes over and takes that away, what are we going to have? Because again, Spotify, which is a problem, they allow it to happen. Spotify is not addressing the problem, which is creating frustration for everybody all around. A lot of people are arguing that they should be protecting artists and bands and stopping the leaks and stopping the breaks in putting music into their discography that should not be there. They should be blocking and not supporting fake music, and support the integrity of real people, and not allowing this digital age to be defined. But it's also a company, and companies are unfortunately greedy. So when I googled Spotify on AI generated bands, AI overview, which is an AI overview, but I still put it in here for some reason. It says, yes, Spotify is deeply involved in AI music by both partnering with labels to develop tools and host AI-generated content, which has led to controversy over ghost artists. Spotify, for the record, from September 25th, 2025, states that Spotify strengthens AI protections for artists, songwriters, and producers, and improves enforcement of impersonation violators. Additionally, Spotify web player has AI music that it's labeled open to our ears to music that is using artificial intelligence to enhance and shape or inspire our output. No, thank you. That's all I got to say to that. Now, the Guardian article that I found that came out in July of 2025 talks about the debate authenticity with the music industry, saying that streaming sites should be legally obliged to tag music as created by AI so that consumers can make a choice, which I totally agree that there needs to be more done from the streaming services. And it would be very helpful to navigate better, because there are descriptions on some band streaming pages that say synthetic music projects guided by human creative direction, but then there are other bands that deny that they're AI, but yet they release 2 albums, all together in 1 year, and it's like, that doesn't make any sense. And that's where everyone is suspicious, because they're just pumping this music out, pumping it out. And that's how you know it's AI, when it's just pumping it out and it just doesn't make any sense. Most likely it's AI. The Guardian further states that in the present situation, streaming sites like Spotify are under no legal obligation to identify AI-generated music, leaving the consumers unaware of the origins of songs, which brings up another point that it's hard to make a decision on if this is AI or not. And a lot of people are saying that they determine it by, do they make too much music in 1 year? Do they have a profile picture? Do they have a social media page? What's the quality of what we're listening to? But still, it's a minefield to go through it. Now, I found another article which that talked about this back in 2003. So this has been an ongoing issue for years, but it has boiled over to the point that we are at this current time. So this article came from nrp.org, and it states that Spotify and other platforms removed an AI-generated song, and it was a cloned voice of an artist without their permission. NRP continues the article that states that, like other technology advancements, this has preceded that AI has caused some panic and fascination on how it could potentially transform the music industry. One perspective is the ability to help human artists restore audio quality, such as in the case of surviving Beatles member did with John Lennon's old vocal demos, and the other is just full blown deception. So, you know what? I do agree with NPR.org is that AI can be used in a positive way, like reviving these dead artists in a tasteful way, because I also think, you know what, it's a little creepy in my personal opinion, but that could be a positive side. And then it's deception. It's deception, it's hurtful. It makes you feel like you're lied to, honestly. Like when I find out a band is I do feel lied to. I do feel very hurt about it because I'm like, where is the authenticity in this, you know? So, anyways, Spotify has over 696 million users in more than 180 markets. The CEO, Daniel EK, states that he has optimism of AI allowing the algorithm to make better matches for listeners with what they could want, and rolled out AI DJ to provide recommendations and commentary. EK further states that AI should be a helpful in human creators, not replacing them, yet they are not taking any steps in curbing the issue. So basically, in summary, I personally do not support, I do not agree with it, and I do wish that in 2026 it is the year that Spotify does something about it, and that they can use AI if they want to give us recommendations, but the allowance of bands and artists to be making music from AI is just essentially fake, and it's wrong, and it takes away the value of it, you know? And like I said, I've seen this debate everywhere. And I think it's crazy that there's a debate on it. I do wonder where are people coming from who support these AI generated bands? Like, where is your viewpoint? And that's what I want you guys to do in the comments. Like, if you support it, I want to see what your guys' viewpoint of it. Because again, I just feel like somebody who loves the live concert experience, I would hate to fall in love with the band and get so invested in them, and you will never see the light of day of it at all. Like that just takes away everything. Live concerts have been making such a revival. So that's the contradiction part of this whole situation is like live shows and festivals have taken such a revival since COVID. Like I have seen more and more people talk about going to concerts than I have ever in my life, and there's so much concert content on YouTube, on TikTok, that like if we allow AI to take over, where does all that go? You know, and that's just that's again the scary part, man. I don't like the reality of it, and I really really hope that it does not take over, that you know we all curve it, that we all stand together and we all block this music. But again, I want to know what y'all's opinions are. It's been a little quiet in the music industry thus far. There's only one band that released one song, that was Black Veil Brides. I already talked about it in my other video if you guys want to check that one out. And yeah, I'm wondering what 2026 really has in store for us, because we keep trying to predict where we're going to go and we keep being wrong and we keep being led in other little directions. So I'm very curious to see how it is. But at the end of the day, I don't support AI generated bands. And this was Breakdowns and Bows with your host ASOS, and I hope that you have a very wonderful day. Goodbye.